Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Namaskaram. A very good evening to everyone. I, Priyanka Bharde, welcome you all to Natya Manthan Season 2, Episode 2. It's a virtual live talk show with eminent gurus of Indian classical arts, proudly presented by Department of Language and Culture, Telangana, Indian Council of Cultural Relations, Hyderabad, Surmandal, Hyderabad, Telangana Foreign Students, and Sri Hiranmayi Kuchipudi Nrithyalay, Hyderabad. Natya Manthan is a humble effort to churn and bring out the experiences of stalwarts of Indian classical arts to brighten the paths of young dancers. We have a very esteemed and dignified panel today, two speakers whom I have been following from a long time, and I'm very excited to know about their experiences. Our first speaker for today, Kalaimamani awardee Srimati Anitha Guha garu. Welcome, ma'am.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram, ma'am.
Namaskaram to everyone. Om Shri Sai Ram. Namaskaram to everyone who are watching the program. And thank you so much. Very happy and honored to be a part of this show, Priyanka ji. Thanks
Thank
to
you.
ICCR, Language Department, and foreign students, the whole team. And I'm extremely happy to share I should call it my home stage with my dearest friend Aruna ji, Odyssey exponent Aruna ji. I welcome all of you. Namaskar. I'll share my small experiences with you.
Thank you, ma'am. Few words about Anitha Guha garu. She is the director of Bharatanjali, a reputed Bharatanatyam institution in Chennai, started 30 years ago. She is the disciple of Srimati Katyayani Nateshan and Guru Govindarajan Pillai. She also had the opportunity of learning under Kalaimamani Radhakrishnan Garu and Dr. Ananda Shankar Jayant Garu for a brief period. Her music guru is Srimati B. Meenakshi Garu. She is known for her brilliant choreography and executional skills, especially in Nrithya Natikas and dance dramas. She has around 25 Nrithya Natikas to her credit, performed by her students in various prestigious platforms. Apart from the Kalaimamani Award, some of her notable awards are Rukmini Devi Memorial Award, Natyakala Shikharojwala Award, Kala Nipuna Award, Natya Kala Sarathi, and many more. Wonderful to have you on the show, ma'am.
Sai Ram.
I would now like to invite our second speaker for today, Padma Shri and Sangeet Natak Academy awardee, Srimati Aruna Mohanty garu. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Priyanka. It's an honor to be here in this August platform. And like Nitaji, I would like to express that I'm happy to share the dais with her. We are extremely appreciative about each other and our passion for dance. But I would like to say, what a wonderful endeavor for the Cultural and Language Department, Telangana, and Indian Council for Cultural Relation, and uh, Hiranmayi, Natya Manthan, and Foreign Language Student Association for coming forward with this brilliant idea. Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you for being here, ma'am. Few words of our second speaker, Srimati Aruna Mohanty garu. She is the director of Orissa Dance Academy in Bhubaneswar. She is the disciple of Guru Srinath Raut garu, Guru Govind Charan Pal garu, and Sri Gangadhar Pradhan garu. She combines extensive research, lessons from her gurus, and innovative thinking to produce scintillating choreography. She has served as a member of Central Sangeet Natak Academy for 5 years and as the executive member of Indian Council of Cultural Relations ICCR, New Delhi. The state nominated to the board of EZCC. Empaneled with the ICCR, she has traveled widely as a cultural ambassador. She is the member secretary of Orissa Dance Academy, advisor to Guru Kelu Charan Mohapatra Odissi Research Center, and the member of various committee in Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Some of her notable awards, apart from the Padma Shri and Sangeet Natak Academy Award, are Mahari Award, Sanjukta Panigraha Memorial National Award, Bharat Bhavan Award, Jagannath Sanskriti Bikash Parishad Award, Lifetime Achievement Award, and many more. I feel so proud reading these lines about both of you. It gives me lots of inspiration, and I'm sure all the viewers listening to all this, it is definitely an inspiration and a push for us to aim higher and achieve more things as a dancer. Thank you, both of you, ma'am, for being here. And I'm looking forward for a wonderful discussion now. The moment I thought of inviting you both, I had this question of what the topic should be. And somehow I felt I'll be able to churn lots and lots of knowledge if I choose Nritya Natikas because your works are so rich and so efficient, especially in this field. And I've been following videos, especially Anitha ma'am's YouTube channel, which has around 2 lakh views. I feel so proud that a classical dance channel has come up to this level. And beautiful choreography, the execution, the synchronization on the stage management, all such aspects which we see in these performances. I feel there's a lot behind what we see, and that is my target today to churn that out. So, with the blessings of Lord Nataraja and all the viewers and gurus, I would like to start this discussion.
Thank you.
So, we all trust that today's topic is Nrithya Natika choreography, which is like the dance dramas that are present in the Indian classical dances. It's very famous, like most of our classical dances, we just don't present small items of gist of performances, but many dance forms are known for the extensive choreographies of Nritya Natikas. And I would like to know how similar and how different are these in each of the forms, especially today, Bharatanatyam and Odissi. So my first question is, how is the Nritya Natika in your own forms different from theater play? So we know that Natakam means a theater play where we enact and show which is already there in the world. We are trying to show it with dramatic aspects and with some decoration to the expressions, movements, all that. But I would like to understand, how is Nritya Natika different from a normal Natakam? So my question would be first to Anita ma'am. Please start over, ma'am.
Yeah. Uh, as it is, I want to say that now Natakam and Nritya Natakam both have their roots from the Natya Shastra, isn't it? And colloquially, any drama is called a Natakam. But I mean, as I think Arunaji and all of you, you being a dancer, you know it that in Natya Shastram, the 10 different kind of plays, the Shurupaka system there, you have Natakam specified, the first one, and Natakam says that it needs to have an exalted hero, the hero Dhata. We need to have about 10 scenes minimum, and then about only 5, 6 characters. I mean, these are all the Shastra part what we just read and go through it. But basically, I feel, and I think everybody knows, the main thing is the vrittis. All of us know that all the natakams and nritya natakams, we follow, I mean, we have that all the vrittis in that. And for the natakam, we use more of the Vachika Binayam, and the character actually speaks for its own self. I mean, himself, and even sing. Earlier, they even used to sing. That is a major thing. But now, in a Nritya Natakam, we have musicians, and it's not dialogue oriented. Only seldom we have dialogues. It is more of Nrityam, Nrittam, and Natakam. I mean, it's the name itself says that Nrithya Natikam is a combination of beautiful. Nrityam is again the Shuddha Adavis and also the emotional content. And I feel, Priyanka, the Natakam portion of any production or any dance drama, it totally depends on the choreographer's choice. See, the all of us, Arunaji, all of us follow. I mean, our Adavu patterns and the Nritya. Elements what we have learned and like that. But when a choreography happens, it is very different. So Bharatanatyam basically it is coming to the point. Now Bharatanatyam has the tandem and the graceful style. It has the lasyam, more of nrityam, and as I told you, some choreographers use more dramatic elements in the natakam, but some are very subtle. That's what it is. But basically, the drama and the natakam to me is the Vatika Abhinayam is very differently handled. The dialogues are very seldom used in a Nritya Natakam. That's what I feel.
Thank you, ma'am, for the insight. I would now like to request Aruna Mohanty Garu to please put on some words.
I will just take the cue from Anitha ji. Both of us, as we are kind of taking the Natya Sastra as the foundation, where it has been referred Odissi as Udramagadhi. So it has also kind of taking its grammar and like whatever way it has been explained there when we are talking about the Nataka or Nritya Natika or the classical dance form. But I'll just add little bit. I'm not going to repeat whatever Anitha just said. I 100% agree with the way beautiful way she had kind of said it. I'm just talking about Odisha. Odisha is a state where, like any other state, we have tribal belt, we have coastal area, hills and plains. When a classical dance form evolves in a particular region, it takes the essence from the allied art forms. So in Odisha, there's a beautiful Nritya Natika pattern in coastal Odisha, in other regions of Odisha, and it's called Sahijata in Puri, where massive, props they carry with themselves, like Ravana, Nagarjuna, and all other, kind of Kali, Durga, and all that, different characters of mythology, and they enact it. And in different sahis or different pockets of Puri, they have one jatras. So they'll come together and present it in a public place. So it has got a very strong tradition of special, unique music, and also how the natika is been enacted. Similarly, we have another nataka called, which is called musical theatre, called Prahlada Nataka from the southern Odisha. So they use a kind of a stage which is kind of steps are there, 8, 9 steps are there. So the dancers to climb on the steps and come down and enact and sing and dance and dialogue and everything. Then we have a beautiful musical theatre called Rasa, which is based on Vaishnavite traditions. And Guru Kalicharan Mahapatra belong to this Rasa group, where they do all the Leelas of Krishna. Like it is a vernacular translation of Gita Govinda in Odia. But they do all the songs and depicting the moods of Radha and Viraha and Milana and all that. So these are musical theatres which have influenced in post-independence era when the great masters come together and kind of restructure Odissi dance. So it started in Odissi, this Gitinatya Parampara or the musical theatre Parampara influenced Odissi like anything. So be it solo format, be it group format, or be it a dance drama format, even solo format also, this nuances of Gitinatya or the musical theatre influenced, where the teachers have created drama, within the frame, where, using Sanchari, they have created different characters, and the story came in, though it is Ekaharya, but the drama was nonetheless created on the basis of Nrithya Natika.
As Aruna said, in the Bharatanatyam, it's basically it is taken its path from the Kuravanji Natya Natika, from the Kuravanji, and in South we have the Bhagavata Mela, and
Yes.
of course the Kathakali. See, I can say personally too, we even in Bharatanatyam we use for the characters we use shades of Kathakali or even Kathak or Odissi in certain places. So it's basically I feel every art form borrows different things from different people. And as she rightly said, when all the maestros working generation after generation, I mean this beautiful art form with great musicality, yes, that's what I feel. Yes, Arunaji.
Thank you, ma'am. So what I understand from this is actual the basic foundation is same for all the forms. Like we all follow Nati Shastra as that's the thumb rule. But it is only different because of the regional influences, like the language, the type of dressing, the way of presentation. So all that is yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just want to say dance is all about the mediation between the music and dance, language, literature, aharya, faiths, fair, festival, natural resources, norms and values and way of life of a particular region. That is how it is different from Bharatanatyam, from Odissi, because of this regional differences. Suppose, I'll just give you one example. That same Astapadi, when we are doing whether in a dance drama format, where in a solo format where we have dance dramatized it, you know, if I'm taking Pashyati Disi Disi and Anitha ji also doing Pashyati Disi Disi, if I'm doing a dance drama where the other dancers are there and I'm creating the frame within the frame. Natha Hare, Dhati Radha Vasagruhe. When I'm saying Vasagruhe, probably in Ekahari I would say Vasagruhe. I'll like to point my fingers towards the back, see there. But here I have created with a light zone a kind of a space where Radha is sitting with her Sakhis, and as if Krishna is far away and the Sakhi is telling Krishna, look, she is there. So then you create. And then in Sanchar, you say how Radha, kind of Bhavati Bilangvini Bitari Bigalita Lajja. She is running away and she's saying, no Lajja, and then whatever she is doing, and her Bilapati and Roditi and whatever is doing, as if Krishna and the Sakhi watching it. So this kind of frame division and creating situation within situation is the Nritya Natika format. So
Wonderful.
but how it is different from Bharatanatyam? Because probably I will say, Yahi Madhava. The musical structure, the Odissi music is kind of long and generous with its rhythmic pauses and things like that. So my expressions and kind of movement based on the music, so it has got the regional fragrance or the color of it because of the music and rhythmic structure and the way we sing it. And also the Odia people, suppose it is the way they walk, they sit, they eat, they look, they fall in love, and they exchange an unspoken word and spoken words and all that. So it gets reflected when we do a Nritya Natika because it is all about body and expression and communication through the body.
Wonderful, ma'am. It couldn't have been a better explanation by both of you. So we now understood like what is a Nritya Natika and how is it different from a Natakam. I feel from this discussion it is more of um, beautifying it through music and dance and making it more relatable for the audience and enjoyable for the audience. So thank you, ma'am, for this interesting aspect of Nritya Natika. So having discussed what is Nritya Natika, I want to understand what are the kind of themes you choose. Like usually we see like there's a huge spectrum of themes that we see, and each guru has her or his own choice and his own perceiving style. So I want to understand your thoughts on this. What are the themes you choose and why you choose What is the inspiration that makes you choose those themes? Anita ma'am.
Yes. I should say, right from childhood, and it's a God-given grace that I present Nrithya Natakams only from our Puranas and Itihasas. This is just simply, it's been my passion. And I love stories, and I like to retell those stories to my students. And also, it's my way of conveying our Puranas and Itihasas to our younger generation. Uh, so basically, I work more on the Puranas and Itihasas. Very rarely, it might be a social theme. I've done one on national integration and things like that, very few. But otherwise, all my productions, and basically, Priyanka, I think this passion is also due to my upbringing. I'm from Secunderabad, from Andhra. So I've been born and brought up in the mythological cultural background. So right from my childhood, that dance, dramas, and mythology has been my passion, and that's why I've been doing it. And many of them. Should I now tell you about what I've done, or after Arunaji speaks?
As
What do
you
you
wish,
want?
if you want ma'am to convey her points, we can take up.
Uh,
So, yeah, Anitha ji, if you
uh,
are.
See, actually, all my work, I have done is my first my first Nritya Natakam which I did was Mohini Basmasra when I was very young, when I was a dancer, long, long time ago. Uh, and later, so many things for my students. But in Chennai, as a teacher, the first dance drama was Swagatam Krishna, and the second was Mahadeva Mahasenam Bhaji, where my point of my dance dramas is, one is the storytelling, one is the Puranas, the next one is giving scope to all my young talented students. That was my basic effort. And when I did Mahadev Mahasenam Bhaje, I really found, when I read the Dakshayaga, Shiva Puranam and Kanda Puranam, I had the Dakshayagam and Parvati Parinayam. It was so beautiful for my elder students. And then Kanda Puranam in Tamil, it has a beautiful adal, the childhood of Muruga, in three different stages. And and Muruga is Arumuga, six face. So every stage. So I had about 18 to 20 little Murugas on stage, and then the Sura Samhara Muruga. And that production really went very well with the audience in Chennai. And maybe because I use a lot of young children also, and my intention has always been that I put them with perfection and professionalism to the possible extent. I mean, 30 years ago I started this, and actually this has been my style of presentation. So, and by God's grace, I got very good critical acclaim also from all our gurus here. And Nandini Ramani ma'am, Hindu correspondent ma'am, she had written a very beautiful review. And then that's how my style of presentation started, I should say. Now let Arunagi speak, then I'll come back.
Yeah, my journey started very when I was very young. My father was a writer, theater director, film producer. So in my house, I only kind of got exposure to musicians, dancers, writer, poets, and things like that. We come from a middle class family, but I think my childhood experience is enriched with this inputs from all these creative people. So, and I was very much attracted just because I introduced to stage as a child artist my father's play. So, theater is a very strong background in my life. And when I was young, my father said, let's have the entire Sri Krishna Raslila as dance drama, where I sang 36 songs while dancing. So that was my experience. Then we were singing, but then gradually we were getting breathless because we started introducing complex movements and things like that. So background singing came into being. So in my earlier experience, so I was more into Nrithya Natika format. But then, when I took up allied art forms as my philosophy subjects, so I went to different area to see. So there is a musical ballad when people sing and introduce the artist and then talk about it. So I introduced that aspect in my compositions when I did. I take like Anita ji, we are all in love with mythological stories. But one thing I always try to see, then when you pick up mythological stories, somehow you have connected to the present time and make it relevant to our lives. Otherwise, it's getting disconnected. Because once I was doing Ardhanariswara and a student in Speak Maker program, he's from IIT. So he said, you are describing Shiva and Parvati, but that's like calendar art. You are not talking about whys. You are saying how they are looking. Why Shiva is having the serpent? Why there is the crescent moon? All these whys are not answered. That means we are interpreting on a very superficial level. We are just describing Jata, Juta, and all that, but we are not saying, wow, the Dharma is not created. We are just translating the slokas. So that made me think that, I should somehow make it very relevant to present day. In that context, I use this Sutradhar pattern that people will come as if they're singing and saying, there is a character like Sumukha and Gunakesi, they fell in love, and what happened? And when the characters are introduced, then I transform the characters into what they are, Naika and things like. So that is a pattern I used in some of my composition. In one composition, it's called Krishna Sarana. So they are like all of us, we love Krishna. So without Krishna, the Odyssey cannot survive. So we did it from this. I used almost 30 dancers. We started with Krishna Janma till the death of Krishna and the resurrection of Krishna as Avatara, yoga after yoga. So in there, what I tried to do, I just experimented, and probably it was kind of, appreciated by people. And so that's why I'm very happy and thankful to God that when Krishna is born, I'm saying that yada yada hi dharmasha, what it says, that when there is adharma, I come. So you see, today in our life, when there is a chaos, when there is adharma, Krishna is also born in Priyanka or in Anita ji. All of us has Krishna inside us. When he is talking about Kaliya Dalana, when he is talking about Giri Govardhana, he says, today also you are the Krishna. Talk about the environment. Don't worship only gods and the murti of the gods and goddesses. Take care of our hills, mountains, greenery, and the animals and living beings and things like that. And Kaliya Dalana, Kaliya is the, probably a symbolism used, which is polluting the water. Today, don't I talk about Ganga and cleaning of Ganga and water and Mahanadi and things like that? So I kind of showed all the things Krishna did, and like when the Swayamvar happened, Krishna knew Arjuna was for Draupadi, but he created this Swayamvar. He planned this because let equal opportunity be given to all, and the achievers win. So that's the principle. Even today, the world is governed. So this Bhagavad Gita, when it is taught in the boardroom of the corporate house, don't you think it is very relevant to our life? So through dance, through our dance dramas, if we are making our young generation fall in love with dance, when it is relevant to their lives, probably will be successful as communicated through dance, will be able to touch the hearts of different age groups of our audience.
Lovely, ma'am. And I feel that it's so important that these Puranas, these epics reach the next generation, and the most efficient and most beautiful way is arts. And I think students understand these stories more while performing them or while watching them than just listening to them when somebody is telling the story. So it's a very powerful medium, and very fortunate that we have gurus like you who are using the medium to
We are
take.
trying. We are trying, and we can't call ourselves gurus. We are still students. We are trying, and we are kind of, there are so many failures, and something clicks, something doesn't. We are not happy with some of our compositions. So, and we did Bhagavad Gita, which Anita ji will
I wanted to tell you that.
Yes, let us talk about it. So we did that. And one more example that I'll just give. I did something called Pratinayaka. It's a solo thing for 30 minutes. But it is kind of a dance. In a latter stage, I kind of converted it to a group thing. But here, always we talk about Nayaka, but very seldom we talk about the prototype Nayaka, the opposite of the Nayaka, whose existence actually highlights the existence of the Nayaka.
Right.
So this is the tagline. So Pratinayaka says, I am, therefore you are. So day says to night, I am, therefore you are. Night says, I am, therefore you are. So they are Nayaka and Pratinayaka to each other. So I was kind of thinking, I have a think tank I was discussing, and the poet Kedar Mishra was sitting and said, Appa, you have spoken about Nayaka enough time. Rama, Sita, this, that, everything. But what about the prototype Nayaka? They are vanished into oblivion. No one kind of talks about them. So we just thought, and we thought at present time, who is Nayaka in this era? So the Kali is the Pratinayaka, and Satya, the truth, is the Nayaka. So that is there in the Bhagavata. So we started from there. And to dramatize it and to turn it into Nrithya Natika, we thought we have to somehow connect it to our past. Because past is the foundation. We are building the structure present and we're giving it to the future generation. So we have to connect to that. People are kind of, the youngsters are not kind of interested in knowing. So we said, okay, let's go to Hiranyakashipu era, where Hiranyakashipu is the Pratinayaka. He says, I am, therefore Prabhu, you are Narahari. When I am Asura, you are Ishwara. When in your victory, there lies my defeat. If I am not defeated, your victory has no meaning. Then comes Ravana, which says, I am, therefore you are Purushottam Ram. And then Kansa says, I am, therefore you came Krishna, you become Krishna. So that's how I've connected to the present era where things are like that. So to do this, my only aim was to connect the past to the present, and every era has a message. So Nritya Natika, the first thing, the core thing is that we decide what message is going to put across.
Yes.
And then how we do it. What methodology we are using, Sutradhar methodology, ballads thing, or a purely musical, or there will be song. I use voice narratives in dialogue a lot because I come from a theatre background. So I use it a lot, not in the beginning or in the end. When during the composition also, I use it. So in Pratinayaka, when I did Pratinayaka, after this is presented, whoever had came inside and said they liked it, they all talked about the concept. So it's a beautiful concept. I said, what about the dance? Isn't it good? They said, no. It was very good, but So what is important when we are talking about Nritya Natika is the concept and how we are interpreting the concept, what simile and metaphor we are using, and how we are interpreting in a simpler way. I am emphasizing in this line that it has to be simple. If it is complex and it is too philosophical and too abstract, sometimes we do it because we love to do it, because as we are maturing, we like to make it more philosophical. I also believe that there should be some philosophical interpretations, because life is all about philosophy and abstraction. And so that is why how simply we are communicating this Anitha's production. I love it because it's so straightforward. It's so simple. It comes and touches people right away, then and there. Probably that will be, she came to the Holy Festival and there were 3,000 people. And when that thing happened and her students performed, people said, wow, because immediate connection happened. So in that 3,000 people, there were 750 students, engineering graduates were there. And then some very, very kind of elite kind of audience there, and very common people there. All of them were satisfied with the communication. If dance can do this, then our future, which we are all apprehensive that classical dance is kind of going away from the youngsters and from the mainstream, only elite people come, that kind of tag, probably we'll be able to reach masses.
It's very important. Very important. Actually, Priyanka, I was about to say that I had this wonderful opportunity of working with Aruna ji for Gita Mahatmya. That was done for Kalavardhini, I think 2018. So basically, it was her production, but we had Bharatanatyam, Kathak. It was a combined effort.
Contemporary,
Contemporary,
Mohiniyattam,
Mohanty. Yes, and it traveled abroad also. And I mean, it was amazing. It was my great honor to be working with.
It's
I mean,
mutual.
no, really, because and one, I want to tell you one thing, because see, any art form or anything, a lot of practice and rehearsals is a must. So, I mean, my students always say I give a lot of importance to that, and maybe I'm troubling them a lot all the time. Practice, practice, practice. Then we worked with Arunaji. Okay, we worked with Arunaji. Then when I came back home, I told these my children that now you won't be complaining that I'm giving you so much. You've seen Arunaji now. She was a more a taskmaster. See, that's very important. The hard work beyond all our other things. That hard work commitment is the most important thing. And for me, as I said, the choreography. Uh, for me, as Anandi said, first the study of literature is very important, and then planning the scenes, the rough script writing, and music is the most important thing. Music, any production with the beautiful music, it automatically gets enhanced. And that way, at this juncture, I would really uh, like to thank God for giving me wonderful people like our own faculty, Dr. P.R. Venkata Subramanian sir, Neyveli Santana Gopalan sir, and I mean, Revati Shankaran for the copy, and our whole team, our students. When she's saying the effect is not brought about by a single person, it is not Anita Guha or any other teacher or guru. It's not like that. It's
Teamwork.
basically a beautiful combined effort of all the artists, the musicians, the orchestra, only when every one of us put our 200% effort, uh, a little, I mean, we are able to do. I feel like that. And the Jati portions, generally, I'm very particular. For the Jati portions, for a thematic production, I believe that the Jatis have to reflect and suit the character. That's very important. I mean, along with the music. See, for example, and again, as Nagi said, like, see, as the characters are important, more than the heroes, I love the
Prototype.
villages. I mean, I always like that better. Even as a performer myself, I've done Ravana, and I did. So I loved Arunaji's Ravana when I saw it in her production too. See, and we have these jatis, and not only that, the again it's a God-given skill that I'm able to imitate. And as she said, even I used to sing and recite jatis initially for my performances 30 years ago. But I mean, with years to come, we develop a teacher's throat. I mean, it all goes. I mean, uh, and for example, I just give you one or two jatis, just one line, because how it suits. See, if it's a cuckoo jati, it comes like this. Cuckoo tarikitatum. Cuckoo tarikitatum. Cuckoo tarikita cuckoo tarikita kitaka. Coo. Coo. I think everybody uses all these things. And if it's a, I mean, as she said, if it's a Ravana or a Gatotkaja or whatever, just one bit where we even use, I mean, because I love drama. So, in a jati like ding ding taka ding ding taka ding ding driguta. See, along with that, we have ding taka 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 taka. These kind of laughter added in between. So, I mean, I think our productions were liked by audiences because of all these things also. I mean,
It's a
I think
combination of Margi and Deshi.
yes.
It's the combination of Margi and Desi. That's
Yes,
what
yes.
makes it
Yeah.
so.
No, as Aruna said, we are able to reach to all the audience, the connoisseurs, and all the masses also. That's, I think, that way, this is my small thing I wanted to say.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful. It's more like you both talking, and all the viewers, including me, are just mesmerized by all the things that you both are discussing, and we can actually see in front of us what all you must have gone through while doing a ballet together. Because the way you were able to communicate to each other, being from different dance forms, it shows like ultimately the passion rules. That's what is the main thing. And the point that you said that all the kinds of audiences were able to relate to it. We have one comment on the Facebook live chat from Moitri Paul. Mahadeva Mahasenam Bhaje was beautiful. I watched it during Margali in Chennai. I still remember getting goosebumps. So, some comments are the proof that you are definitely reaching the audience, be whatever age it is, whatever kind of audience, and whatever class of audience. So wonderful, ma'am. Now that we understand what inspires you to pick up themes all over, if I see, I feel that it is more of your love towards Hindu mythology and your very sincere effort to take it to the next generation through very beautiful forms like Bharatanatyam and Odissi. Thank you, ma'am, for those lovely, lovely answers. I would like to go a little more technical. Now we know that Nrithya Natika is a combination of so many things. It's not just a dance or just a drama or just music. Like ma'am said, it's not one person. It is a team. It is a huge, huge team which plays very important roles in their own places. In the costumes, makeup, they all also add up a lot to the kind of impact the ballet gives. So I would like to understand the correlation, how these aspects of technical aspects of dance, like the song, the script, the sahityam, and how the dancers are learning and presenting it, how the stage is managed, the stage coverage. Matlab, if you have like around 14 dancers or 13 dancers, how do you plan accordingly for that particular theme? Stage measurements. I'm sure you must have been going through all this. And apart from these, we also have to look into, are we imbibing the rules of Shastra or are we just deviating to please audience? So, at such point, also, we need to be really, really careful because you are the torchbearers of classical dance for us, and I'm sure you must be like really thinking twice and thrice before you do anything. So, these points I want to understand from you, how are they correlated and how is the impact, like, what is the interrelation between these points and how each of them contributes to the impact.
See, as you said, first, we're talking about the space, right, in a production. Uh, I would first say that, I mean, actually, Aruna ji should answer this question first because I've seen her using, no, I've actually seen her using her space so judiciously, so beautifully. Uh, as she
And
said, we are basically inspiration to each other. She has used it very beautifully. And of course, I can add just one point here. To me, for a Nritya Natakam, Bharatanatyam Nritya Natakam, the Shastra becomes the basic concept of the Adavi system. For me, the Ardha Mandalam in Bharatanatyam is very, very important. The clean geometry lines are extremely important. And when you're talking about Shastra, actually, first we need to, I mean, see that we follow the basic things. It is very important. And the precise footwork, very precise footwork, and sharp. I mean, the Pandanallur Pani itself has those sharp jati patterns, intricate sharp jati patterns, short jatis, but very precise movements. And then we also have a group performances, the synchronization is extremely important. And basically, I think I just keep in mind that we, according to the each stage, we have to completely utilize the stage, and each artist should be, the visibility is very important of each artist. See, even if 10, 15 of them come on stage, I mean, they need to be visible. That's very important. In dance, of course, see, I feel we're doing nothing new. All, the pindis, everything is there. The group formations, everything is already there, which has been told in the Natya Shastram. We are just using a little of it with our own ability. Uh, I think the formations, and for the present day, the geometrical formations of group dances also become very important. But for me, a Nrithya Natika, other than the formations, I feel the characterization of each. I mean, when I actually work with my students, the Angika, the body language for each character, the emotion, the Nritya for each character is individually worked. This is also very important. I mean, only this combination, as she said, only that combination will work out for a Nritya Natika. The Nrityam also has to be extraordinarily good. The Talam, I mean, and Bharatanatyam in other styles also we see that we use all the talas and all the nadais when we incorporate in our choreographies, and all the rasas, the Navarasam, we try to incorporate. I mean, this is what I felt. But Aruna ji will, I think she'll enlighten you better. She's an amazing group choreographer too.
No, 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 no. It's not about that. It's just that we try, and sometimes,
No,
as
no.
we were discussing, we come across with good uh, uh, productions. The first thing, as Anitha ji said, and Priyanka, you know, as a dancer, when I close my eyes, the concept I decide to do it, I like to visualize it in my mind. The chintan is first, where it takes place. Like it comes
Yes.
up, it sprouts. Uh, so when I visualize there, the story, the written words get transformed into physicality, and
Very
it
true.
moves. It becomes mobile. So then, with that mobility, the changes, the canvas changes its color and the picture. That what should be the background, and because I'm talking about Nrithya Natika, what should be the set, what should be the mood, and how the lighting should come in, and how much, depending on the time duration is very important.
Very important.
So
Yes.
each character, to establish it, like Anita ji said, it has to be crisp, it has to be clean, it has to be sharp, and it has to have its mobility and pauses. The silence is equally important as the very, very aggressive and crowded moments. So all that, you just have to see it with your, that is when you sit down to write the scripts. In this first sequence, these are moving the body, whether you need, so since the time is running out, I have to be quick. And then you have to have, multiple characters here there should be a solo character, and in between, if you want to take something diagonally and all, that is where the space comes. And space for me is not the stage, because every time you get a different stage. So stage is, if you're standing like this and you are turning, you are making it as if you are exiting from the place. You're standing at one point and you're creating the entire world around you. So that's how you create space with the movement, with use of technology, lights and sound and etc. You create the space, and then you give a wow factor to the production, because you think that should be some unpredictability. Because predictability, if they know that they come from the wings, then you try to bring them from the back, from the down, and from behind this, behind that. So like that, you try to make it as interesting as possible. And in the group format, like we were working multiple forms, classical forms and contemporary forms. So we respect each other's space in terms of its uniqueness. And so when I've given that this person, Anita ji, you are going to do whatever she is going to compose, I will just Odysseanized it. I will not do the composition. She will do the composition. I have to respect it, and I'll have to Odysseanize it. So accordingly, all the choreographers. So we were matching with Kathak, we are matching with contemporary, we are matching with that, but keeping our essence intact, the forms. and the so that is one aspect of group compositions. But the most important thing is that the composition has to be designed in a way where if you are doing it in Kamani with all the technical help, it will be beautiful. But if I am taking it a small town, now I am going to also put it across with the similar or little less or more, and we have to retain that wow factor. And when we are doing it in the open air stress, the challenge is even bigger because the audience is quite far. So there you have to think, if you are giving very subtle experiences, then how many LED screens you are kind of putting up there for them to see it. Otherwise, it sometimes get lost. So those are some of the factors we remember when we end up. So when the scripting is ready, like we say, then you have to enact it out. You have to take your musicians along with you to see the same dream. Then only you will get the right kind of music from it. If you are not successful in communicating what you are thinking, what moment you are thinking, and the subtleness of the moment on the or the aggressive patterns of the moment, whatever, the music will not be kind of kind of in sync with your visualization. That happens when I make the music. I make my light designer sit there. I said, you listen to it, you tell me that where which light should be 26, 29, 30, and dim, and that, and which light comes from where, we have to decide that. And then once the music is done in my mind, try the almost all the dance drama pattern is created. Then I use the body just to enhance whatever we have visualized, we bring it into reality. And then comes that we have to see the basics of the grammar, how it has preserved, and the synchronization. And as many times they do it, it will be assimilated in that system in a way they don't have to think on the stage. And when the group format is dangerous, because each one has to respect and give space on the stage, otherwise there will chaos. So they have to have the right kind of frame of mind to accept them in their mind space, then physical space.
Wonderful, ma'am. So it's minds talking rather than humans. It's all you are creating it first in your mind and just replicating it in the real world. So amazing, ma'am. It's a really like, especially the points like you said, the stage is not the actual space, but what you think in your mind is the
Yes,
actual.
you
That
create the space.
is a very big takeaway for me. And also points like they should practice it so much that they don't have to think on stage. That's a
Yes,
very powerful point.
to be in the
So,
body.
yeah, exactly, ma'am. And especially on stage, we see that in group presentations, how much ever we plan it, how much ever we practice it, some or the other things happen which are unexpected. And I would like to call it like as crisis management or something.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong on stage, like if a person has to enter and the person is not entering at the right time, but the song is already on, or a person is not carrying a property at the right time, or some other person is entering at some other person's place. Such crisis management and such situations, I would like to understand how do you react to them, and what
Can I?
is. Yes, ma'am. Please.
Because it just coming to mind, I might forget. We were doing a production in Ananya Festival, and Sanjeev ji had asked me to do it for 1 hour. So it was kind of crossing 1 hour, and it's going to 1 hour, 5, 7 minutes. So he came and talked to me, Ki, Aruna ji, you cannot continue beyond that because the time here, I respect the time. So you cannot. Somehow you tell your musicians to cut it now and kind of make it end it here. So then I was doing Ramayana and I was supposed to go as Sita and kind of something was happening on stage. Since Sanjeev ji was talking to me and he was not kind of listening to me and all that I was talking, one of my students, senior students saw that and she just went on the stage as Sita and she enacted the whole thing. And she saved me. So then I realized that if some of my dancers should know all the characters, so any crisis to manage crisis, so anyone can in fraction of a second they'll be there on the stage and will be able to do it.
Very
So that
important.
I remembered. I just wanted to, that Anita ji probably will.
Yeah, I'll tell you to I mean to funny episodes actually. How my students managed. One I still remember was for the Sita Kalyanam, the Sita Swayamvaram. You know, uh, one of my student named Archana. She came to the stage, and see they do multiple roles. So the costume change has to be really fast and things like that. And sometimes the costume may not be in place.
Yeah.
Something might go. It happens.
Yes.
So that's what happened to her. Actually, her panchakam just loosened a little and came out. So as she was picking up the bow, and that one moment, she just said, "Let me go. I'll come back." So I'll just go and come back. So when unperturbed, she just went in, just fixed her costume, and then she came out and, just did the role. And these things, one problem is, the earlier we used to have live programs with a live orchestra. I used to sit in the Natvangam, and so we know something. We had that. See, if the character doesn't come on the stage, we can
Then the
go
music
on,
can, yeah.
music can go on. We can start singing something. I
With
still
record,
remember
yes.
because I had one Krishna, a very tiny Krishna and Balarama. Uh, I think in between the program they felt hungry or something, and they started eating away. And at the right time for Tirupave, they forgot to come to the stage. I mean, they were engaged in eating a biscuit or a chocolate there. So, and it was Krishna and the Balarama coming with the cows and the calves, and they were all dressed like that. So, until they came, I was using my own gatis and singing, and I mean, we're doing that for the children to come up to the stage because I didn't have any other, because all of us do in Bharatanatyam also, and I use exact costumes for it. I mean, they're not in dance costumes, but actual character costumes.
Character.
So, character costumes. So one can't replicate the other's performance. So,
I will just take the cue from here. Very recently, last month, we were performing in Khajuraho. So my dancer was changing costumes. She was supposed to come in as the Mriga, Sita Haranasen. So Sita, Rama is the Jogi is standing here, Viksha. So I was looking for where I will see Krishna. Sorry, before your Ravana comes in disguise. So I was kind of looking where the Mriga. I didn't see her. I didn't know what to do. Then suddenly I become Riga and I started doing it. Then I become Sita and I did that. That's finished and she came in the next day. So it's okay. This crisis management can happen anytime. And as
yes.
you said, if you keep costumes and so many dancers, someone will be taking top blouse and someone is taking the natabari and this, that. And to figure that out, it takes time. Now what we have done is to manage this crisis. I said you have to have hanger and you have to have different places. So you cannot keep it at one place and you kind of mess with it. So you have to do it there. So we change costume in 2.5 minutes.
Yes.
So we have kind of practiced it and kind of thought of different ways so that we can changes during that time. Anita ji has seen that in our production.
I wanted to tell you about that. See, this was earlier thing, but recently when we went for Nandalala to the Aim for Seva, it was a 1.5 hours production, and as you said, we had 14 dancers. They had to do 54 characters, and as I said, I generally like them in the proper costume. But as Aruna said, with time and experience, I did learn. We had to change costume within 2.5 3 minutes, and small changes like no, this
As blouse or
in
pant.
India. In India, I use all my students. I mean, for 54 characters, there might be even 54 students or 70 students like that. But when we go abroad, we go with a smaller group. So
Yeah.
accordingly, we start managing, and we all learn. So as you said, in class we used to practice. Go get dressed within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and come back. So that was also managed later. But these are the things we go through. and we learn by experience. We learn a lot of things, and even makeup, they learn to do it by themselves. Earlier, it was all very elaborate makeup in India, but when they go abroad, they have to manage their own makeup. So I think as they grow up, automatically they learn these things.
I think it's actually a completely different world backstage. People see
Yes,
only very beautiful scenes on the stage, but backstage is crazy. It is so crazy that we don't even
and
see who are we, what are we taking.
actually, yes, actually, we say in front the students dance, behind the mothers dance.
We dance.
They're
We
working
dance.
Exactly.
working.
Right.
There's so
Very
much of
true.
dance, so much of
Correct.
colors. And
So
I
yeah,
used to say, in live performance, just that Natuangam, I mean, my children tease me. I just gave one ting and I expect them to be on stage. So, I mean, I think earlier in my younger days, I just wanted them on stage, whatever it might be. But with time, I understood, a lot of things have to be planned. Very
Yes.
true. Yeah.
yes, ma'am. And it was so lovely to see some of the experiences of yours. And I feel these, critical movements on the stage help us to grow as a dancer. Like how ma'am said, like she herself became the Mriga. So we need that presence of mind on stage, and we need the confidence that yes, this can be dealt and this will not be a flop. So that confidence, we can't prepare for it. It has to be learned with time, is what I
Yes.
feel from experiences. And I feel all the crisis management is overall again a learning process.
And another trigger, just quickly, I would like to add, these days the dancers have to learn so many other things apart from choreography and training and teaching and things. One thing is that how to do the PR work and how to do the publicity and then how to do the makeup and costume designing. And the most important thing is one should know how to do lighting.
Very true.
You sometimes cannot afford to take the light designer. Sometimes the light designer is not available. So if
Right.
you do not know it, or if you know it, it will be definitely a plus point. You can give that special touch to the production.
Definitely, and this is what makes a dancer a proper multitasker. Is what I feel. Like how a woman is considered to be a multitasker in all phases of life. I feel a dancer is a multitasker from the beginning till the end of the career, and we are supposed
Yeah.
to know. Like Sam said, we are supposed to know so many things, not just out of interest, but it's out of need also. We have to know.
I
And
always tell people when they look at us, like, as if we are entertainers. So we only speak through our body, and there is no intellectual or brilliance there. So I tell them that it is not about body, it's beyond body. If you really
definitely.
want to appreciate performing art, it's beyond body. And a dancer is a historian because she or he knows the history of their particular region and geography, and then the way of life. And he's a master in sociology, and then he's a mathematician because the way they play with the rhythms, and then they know so much about literature, so they are like a scholar. So to be a full-fledged dancer, you have to have depth in all these subjects. So you are not only dealing with one aspect of that professional career. You get to kind of involve yourself with all this. So a dancer, we have to. It is kind of, it's a public opinion. Oh, she's a dancer, as if it has got no value. But now with our academics input, we are kind of, all of us, the youngsters and the our group and the great masters, we have taken it in a path where we are getting social respectability. We are kind of making people accept it like a profession which is driven by passion.
True, ma'am. Very true. And I feel it is our generation who should take it as a very big responsibility to keep the continuity of the work that the previous generation has done. Thank you, ma'am. And, I feel so glad, and I feel so like I'm definitely taking a lot of new points, a lot of catchy points for me. Though I have listened to many people talk on this, but every time I talk to new gurus or any topic related to dance, I feel I learn something new on that day. So I am so happy to learn so many things today. And I'm so glad that, first of all, you both have agreed to come to my show. And my audiences also must be really, really happy listening to all the experiences that you have shared. I would now like to request you both to just conclude the discussion, talking about your brief experience in Nritya Natikas and your collaborations, all overall experience and the challenges that you faced, which could be a message to the audience about what it takes to be a Nritya Natika choreographer and how it should be maintained. Anitha,
Anita
ma'am.
ji?
Yeah. Uh, as I was talking, I talked about Mahadevam and Sada meditation. Uh, as Arunaji said, because I didn't want to go so much, earlier in my life, but I too started very early when I was about just 5. And my mother was my first guru. And so my mother's guru was Guru Gopinath Tankamani, and they're very popular in Kerala Nadanam and Bharatanatyam. So I always feel that the Nritya Natakam passion has just transferred from there to me. I have to tell about that also. And uh, in my career as a teacher in Chennai, every year I used to produce new production. And Priyanka, I generally, actually, every time when I talk about how do you choreograph, I always say that's a question I can never answer. To tell you honestly, it because I believe that everything, whatever I do, it's all Swami's Satya Sai Baba's grace upon me. It just naturally flows. So I have to make an effort to actually tell you how I choreograph and all those things. Uh, I have to tell you that. And when I did after Sada Migration, a few more productions, then I had this wonderful opportunity of doing the 30 Pasurams for TTD Devasthanam. And for the Devasthanam, the Pravachanam was by Dr. Anantha Padmanabhacharya. And the same thing was again done for Krishna Gansabha as a 3-day festival. And when you ask us challenges, as Arunaji said, the thing is, and especially on during those times, I was always doing the Natvangam and the vocal. Of course, I did have vocal support, but managing the whole of the orchestra and with so many about 70 plus students and continuously everyday programs, I always felt the challenge. Of course, the program were all milestones in my career, but I always felt that it did affect my health a little. That's the first thing. Because as she says, because of live orchestra, and Chennai season is very crazy. So we after the programs during the season, we have to actually start our rehearsal late by 10 o'clock. Only then the orchestra is available. So the rehearsals will go on from 10 to 2 or 3 in the morning. So your whole biological clock has all changed for the teachers and for the students and everyone. In Chennai, I feel that is one big challenge we've always had. And for rehearsals also, we always get time only during the midnights because the sabhas are always packed with programs. These are all, what we experience in Chennai, actually. And the lighting, as she says, we need to have rehearsal for everything, with the lights and everything. So the continuous programs and all these things took a toll on my health. The challenge in the sense. And I have to say, this, I was affected by multiple sclerosis after a point of time. And that was I thought, everybody said I may not come back at all. But I want to say this because it's my belief that if Bhagavan, he decides that you have to do something, then he automatically puts your pathway. And my next production was Annamacharya. After my sickness, Annamacharya was, Priyanka, you're a Telugu person and you know the greatness of Annamacharya. that Annamacharya production was a blockbuster actually. After the, I mean, this again, I would say that it is only the grace of the Vaibhava Murthy Venkateshwara Swami. I should say that because I had prayed that if when I already got an opportunity from TTD to present it, but then I was very sick, I couldn't do it. So, but I prayed in my mind that if I become a little better, because even if I was a little better, I would start working. But I was in a position where I couldn't do anything at all. But then, after the prayer, believe it or not, within 3 months, slowly I became better. Slowly I became better. And for that, Dr. Papu Venugopal Rao sir was the resource person for that. And Annamacharya was done. It was a real milestone for me in my career. Then from then onwards, I started doing a lot of commission programs for Cleveland. Uh, Cleveland, the Cleveland Tyagaraja Aradhana. I was invited by Mr. Sundaram, Cleveland Sundaram, for the Ramayana series, the Mahabharatam, the Bhagavatam series. I mean, year after year. That's how my career abroad started. And here I would say that, as you know, I was so much used to more of my own students. I mean, I was working with more of my own students. But this was a production with a lot of other gurus. Each kandam was with one guru. For example, for Ramayana, Kishkinda Kandam and Sundara Kandam was, I did it. And I had this great opportunity to work with Neyveli Santana Gopalan sir for his wonderful music. And there, here, we have a space. I have my hall. I mean, we can rehearse how much ever we want because I would say, as Arunaji says, we are all rehearsal maniacs. Like we need to rehearse. We need to do that. But when in a collaborative situation, I mean, in a project like that, with so many dancers from abroad also, uh, students from other gurus and my own students, and when the space, the time, everything had, and the orchestra and everything had to be shared between all of us. As she says, so we may not get our 3 hours, we might get only our 1 hour for rehearsal. Because abroad, what I've noticed is the space is a great problem. They have to book the space, then we have to go for a rehearsal, things like this. We did have these issues. Um, but again, for my first production, it was a learning lesson for me. I mean, I think I was the most tensed one. In fact, we were living in a hotel, Comfort Inn, where even the little time, whichever dancer is available, in the small corridor, we used to just practice and do our scenes, manage things like that. I found all this quite challenging for my initial, first abroad venture. Then, of course, now I got used to it. And there are so many more. Like for a production, the main thing is, I mean, I don't know how Arunaji, I don't know about you, but for us, see in Chennai, like we don't have the same set of students. See, this year it might be, yeah, I think we all face this problem, no?
Yes.
It,
Yes.
this
That's
is
the most common problem everybody
Yes.
faces. It's there
this is the
everywhere.
This is the common problem of the human race.
yes, because we have to keep creating. Those
You have to
characters.
start from the scratch. You have to
Yes,
start from the scratch.
yeah, yes. That's one great issue with Nrithya Natikam. Of course, because of the passion, it's just we are going along with it. But
Right.
otherwise, it's one of the greatest issues we have. Because an experienced dancer of 20 years, that kind of effect, I mean, it's not easy to get in the next generation so fast. But again, so
Right.
much of hard work and practice has to go into it.
Yeah.
So I think these are my kind of experiences, the challenges which I faced.
So, Priyanka, I will kind of like to thank the audience with the last few points on my fingertips. The first of all is that when I choose something as Nritya Natika, I always think of different topics because it has to challenge me first, that I have to be really challenged. So I did the evolution. My fellowship topic was allied art forms enriching Odissi. So I did one production with, it starts from the journey of Odissi from temple to the stage. So we started with the Devadasi and how the evolution of Devadasi Pratha, and then the Goti Puo, which is like the boys, more young boys dressed as girls, started dancing for the religious festival associated with the Jagannath temple, with that, and how that had given the grammar to Odissi, like Pallavi and the Abhinay and those Odia medieval songs and like that. And from there, we went to the group format, the Nrithya Natika, how it happened in Odissi, from this Gitinatya, Sahijatra, Prahlad, the Nataka, all this musical theatre. Then we came to the martial arts segment, where the martial art in Odisha is very strong, like Chow and all of that. So how the gurus who were working together in Utkar Sangeet Mahavidyalaya, and in that room, the Chow Guru Sri Hari Naik, and in this room, Devaprasad Das, Guru Devaprasad Das, they're working, and how they are influenced with each other, and that grammar has come into each other's vocabulary to create that beauty. So I had shown all that as the journey from temple to the stage. So I thought, for any dancer or for connoisseurs of art, it's very important to know this journey. So first, I like to think like that, and then all this forms are been. Then came an invitation to do the opening ceremony for Asian Athletic Games and World Cup hockey. And it was a stadium with 20,000 people and 350 feet kind of stage. So I used 999 dancers.
Wow.
And with that kind of dancer, and you should think, I do not have 900. So we have such good rapport with all other dance schools in Bhubaneswar, in Odisha. So I kind of had did a meeting, and and it was such amazing experience. All of them are so supportive. All the gurus were standing there. And we created the Konark, and how the statues are coming alive, and then they are going back to the stony silence when the sun is up. So it was a theme, like it's a kind of a magical thing. So the whole stage become a Konark thing, and we use the props. The entire Konark festival, a Konark Mandir, we kind of cut into different kind of the whole structure we got, and then we cut it. So each dancers was carrying one person, and they put it together, and full Konark stage happened. So it was like that. So it was a very different, because I'm not used to such a big stage. I'm not used to the big LEDs everywhere, and the probably 350 cameras capturing and all that. And for World Cup hockey, Simon Diver was also the co-choreographer. So the challenge was given to us that we have to juxtapose international dance forms with Indian classical dance forms. So there were all 7 dance forms. There were 7 international dance forms. So one will come like the ballet will come from this side, Bharatanatyam will come from this side. For 2 minutes, these people are at the center stage, they have to do something. Similarly, there are different forms. So it was really a challenge and sleepless nights. But all my co-choreographers were very, very supportive, and they did excellent things. One last thing which I did during the pandemic, when Konark Festival happened in December, I thought I'll do something which will be little contemporary in the sense, thematically. I said I want to talk about woman, me, in different roles. So I thought of Yashoda, I thought of Radha, I thought of Draupadi, I thought of Hidimba, I thought of Kunti, then I thought of Nirbhaya, the daughter of India. So I had chosen 7 senior dancers of mine. I said each one of will do 1 month. But they are asking one question to divinity. Why my life is designed like this? So the production is called Eka Prashna, one question. So here, each woman, like all of us, like when Yashoda is saying that what was not there in my pallu of the sari, wasn't it good enough that I could not even, I could not keep you with me forever? And Radha says, my love is unconditional. When you are with me, I feel still I want more. When you are not there, I'm quite fulfilled with your presence. So, what do you say about this unconditional love? Just tell me that what will you say? That what kind of love is this? And similarly, Hidimba is asking, why for the name of glory and name of dharma and name of war, the mother's bosom has to be sacrificed? Why my son is taken? And Draupadi saying, why my life is a game of blood and fire? I came from the fire, Jagyakunda. And, my life ended with that. I need the blood to, you know, take revenge. Why I become like this? Why my life is a game of blood and fire? Similarly, Kunti was to become an onward mother, and her matrutva has been challenged by Karna. What kind of a mother you are when you gave away? So all that, and the Nirbhaya is saying, I didn't put Nirbhaya in a very negative way, that she's, of course, what happened we showed, but she's saying, my indomitable spirit cannot be suppressed. I am Ajaya, I am Vijaya, and I am Nirbhaya. I march ahead with all my characteristics because life is so beautiful. I have to conquer the hurdles. It cannot defeat my journey. So the I won't say that what the production was all about and how was it and all that, but in the finale I wanted the life to be presented as a celebration, and all this while I probably created music sometime, very interestingly, using the folk music blended with the, because the classical music has come out of the folk music, so blended beautifully and all that. But I have used the territory, and I've stayed within the territory, faithfully stayed within the territory, to because I do not know any other form except Odissi. So when people say fusion, I said the fusion of the thought. It's not the fusion of the grammar, because I do not know any other form. But the second thing is that to do a fusion, one has to have very in-depth knowledge about their own form, the strength. Pandit Ravi Shankar ji could do the fusion with the classical, Western classical, because he was so so rooted and so deeply rooted, and had the knowledge about their own form. Then only you can bring something in and blend it together, so that will be fusion. But today, what is happening in the name of the fusion? Copy paste, put things together, which without knowing that how it can be blended. So that is how I look at the Nrithya Natika, and I kind of think of the sequences in as many interesting way, because I am, Priyanka, I must tell you that I'm deeply impressed by the how people use that body language and dialogue pattern in theatre. Sometimes, because of this dialogue, the length of the song and things can be reduced, so the duration can be little shorter. Because in dance we elaborate through the music, and Sai has to repeat it 4 times, and then Antara and all that. But if you want to make it short and crisp, then you use one dialogue that will probably take you to the next sequence, and it is easily will link from the previous sequence to the next sequence. So these are some of the things I try and still try, and I'll be trying till I kind of am in this path. And I want to tell all the people who are listening to us that to be a student and like a sponge, if you keep your windows and doors open, probably you will get a lot of fresh air, fresh ideas, even from Priyanka, even from the youngsters. Today I tell that when I see my students and other youngsters doing some work, I say, wow, why didn't I think like that? They're so brilliant. So the brilliance has got nothing to do with, how senior we are or junior. Brilliance comes with your own thinking prowess and your passion. You are so passion driven that you want to know more. You want to, kind of see it more in different ways. You possibly can, look at it from different perspective. So I think we should not be afraid to tell the youngsters, try your hand.
Yes.
It may be good, maybe not. But you always look at your teachers or your gurus, or your people the people they inspire you as mentors. That will be good. It is a good process that you walk, holding someone's hand or with someone, matching the footsteps, because the path is very long. And always we come on a crossroad where some paths are less trodden, some paths are more taken. We do not know. But if you take the path which is less trodden, probably that will make a difference in your life.
Thank you, ma'am. I think from the all the challenges that you have faced, what I could understand is every challenge brought out a new you, and you created masterpieces after challenges. So, like Anita ma'am said, her health did not stop her. She was positive about it, and it will happen if we think it will happen. So it's a great point, like the willpower and the points, like you said, the challenges, especially like when you have to collaborate with so many different mindsets of so many different gurus. So that is not just as a dancer, it helps you build yourself as a human being. You know how to have those interpersonal relationships with others. That's a huge point. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I have no words to thank you both for being so generous with your knowledge sharing. And it was a huge, huge experience for me listening to all the points that you have spoken. Big, big thank you on behalf of both Department of Language and Culture and ICCR, along with Surmandal and Telangana Foreign Students Association, with my academy, Sri Hiranmayi Kuchipudi Nrithyalaya. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. And big thank you to all the viewers for being here and actively participating in the chat. Some of them have asked a couple of questions, which I tried to incorporate in my questions. So I hope those are answered, and hope to see you all once again, ma'am. Thank you so much, and God bless you both with more and more energy to bring out more and more masterpieces.
Thank you, Priyanka. You also,
Thank you, Priyanka.
rise and shine and do beautiful work, and the journey is yours.
Thank you, ma'am.
All the very best, Priyanka, to you. And thank you very much. I had a wonderful time sharing the stage with Aruna ji, her insightful speech.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank
much,
you.
Aruna ji. Thank you.
Thank you. Same here.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.